Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Halftime Show, brought to you by Excella Health in Greensburg. I'm Dan Flickinger. We'll rejoin you with a look at the first half stats live from Bowie State and also the scoring summary in a moment. But right now, as promised, we're being joined by Seton Hill University Athletic Director Chris Snyder. And for those that don't know, the first ever head football coach at Seton Hill. So, Coach, I got to ask you, being a former football coach, this time is always a little bit extra special when football season gets underway, isn't it?
Yes, Dan, it really is. In fact, this opening weekend, I just sent an email to one of my former players at Seton Hill, who's a head coach, and said I was reflecting on opening days as they get closer to us, to wish him all the best. And he responded, about his experience at Seton Hill, and it's just a great start of the new year, and I get excited for it every year still. And it's been quite a while since I actually coached a game on a Saturday.
Did you put the headset on?
Yeah,
unless you were interviewing, that's
about it. Yeah, that's about it right now.
Well, you're at all the games, both home and away. I have to ask you, is it more stressful being on the sideline without the headset, not really having any say in what's going on, or with the headset? What's more stressful?
They both have their stresses, Dan, but certainly, obviously, with the headset on, to answer your question, is more stressful. While I get upset sometimes during our games, I generally sleep on Saturday nights, and I don't usually work on Sunday mornings like I did when I was wearing the headset. So,
well, Chris, let's talk about the football team. We're going to talk about the other fall sports as well. One of the biggest wins in program history last year, as I mentioned to Coach Collins, only rivaled by the playoff win that you guys had in 2008, and that, of course, was against Slippery Rock, talking about the win last year. Also, halftime leads over Gannon and Cal U, nearly beat Bloomsburg and Westchester. And I know those were losses, but those were games that the program years ago, and even a couple years ago, wasn't in against those really good programs. Now, last year, you could have had a few more wins. Do you see the football program turning the corner right now, Chris?
I do. I think we made some great strides, and those games that you just mentioned that were the close but no cigar ones, very frustrating for me too, because I know the amount of work and the effort that the kids and the coaches are putting forth, and we just are not getting over that hump, just to get that break, to get that breakthrough and to string some things together. Certainly we had opportunities to win all those ball games you just mentioned, and I'm hopeful that this year we're fortunate and stay healthy, and that we can be as competitive and have a chance to win those games in the fourth quarter and get our share of them.
Looking back on it, I'm curious your thoughts on this. Looking back on it, how big of a challenge was it with Coach Collins being hired 4 years ago, and it just so happens that you were at the same time moving into the PSAC, which is arguably the best college football conference in Division II in the country, and just what they've had to overcome since then, and some of the hurdles that you mentioned that they have overcome. Looking back on it, that was a pretty big task for Coach Collins in the program, wasn't it?
Huge challenge, huge undertaking. Like you say, stepping up into the PSAC represented a big challenge, as you stated quite well, that very strong football conference, very strong conference in all sports, to be honest with you, but football in particular, it's a battle week in and week out, and we knew we had to up the game, on a competitive level. So Coach Collins had that schedule handed to him, and then he had the task of recruiting players to fit his system, and trying to right the wrongs or that happened prior to his arrival. So lots of shake-up to overcome in terms of just structure and the administration and the running of the program. Takes some time to develop, and then getting thrown right into the competition that the PSAC provides is not an easy task. But as I told Coach Collins when we met at the end of last year, I said, we're close. I said, we just got to keep working, and we'll get there. We're not that far off. And, as I look forward to this year, people around Greensburg say, how are you going to be? How are you going to be? I said, I don't know. I said, we're getting better, but, wins are so precious and hard to come by. So I don't know how many we're going to win, but I hope it's one, and that's today.
Yeah, exactly. Let's start with one and go from there for sure. Well, let's talk about some of the other fall sports teams that are about or some have already opened up the season. Women's volleyball hit hard by injuries last year, really prevented them from having the season that they were capable of. Can throw men's soccer in there too. They had some injuries last year. Women's soccer doing a good job of recruiting locally, hoping for a good year. Of course, field hockey looking for some W's this year. And you have cross country that is always competitive, particularly the women. I know they're supposed to have a good year this year. So what do you kind of expect this fall, Chris?
Well, like you say, to start with the obvious, the injury bug needs to stay away. That just decimated our volleyball program last year, coming off of 2, NCAA tournament appearances, and we had high expectations of a third last year. And as you know, by covering our volleyball, the PSAC West is incredibly competitive, with making up over half the field of the NCAA tournament.
Now 3 divisions.
Now we're in the PSAC Southwest, and with probably 3 NCAA potential qualifiers just in our little subdivision. So health is a key. They're underway now at their season opening tournament, and I talked to Coach Hall, and we're typical camp, bumps and bruises, and he's anxious to get him out there and see what we can do. So high expectations for volleyball. Soccer slate, the men too, they were devastated. Coach McCarty's very, very optimistic, and has high expectations that we can turn the corner and get back to where we were the year before with that. So, and then women's soccer, same thing. I know we have some talented freshmen that have come in, and looking forward to them watching their continual improvement. So, I'm hoping that we have, for sure, PSAC tournament qualifiers in volleyball and both soccers, and hopefully even maybe a little farther. Field hockey, we're struggling in field hockey a little bit, but arguably it is the best Division II conference in the country.
Yeah, right.
National champions reside in our league, and they're working hard. So hopefully they can make improvements upon last year. And as you mentioned, with our cross country teams, I think they're excited about the season opening up today at Duquesne. And we have high hopes for the women. I'd like to see the men step up their game a little bit to be a little more competitive. But, the PSAC is rough, tough sledding in all sports. Nothing's easy, that's for sure.
Well, there's some big news items I got to talk to you about, which is really exciting for Seton Hill Athletics. The first one, I want to congratulate you and the coaches, and most importantly, the student athletes, Chris, for the 3rd straight year. Seton Hill's only been in the PSAC now for 3 years. This is their 4th. You guys were the highest overall GPA in the PSAC for all 3 of your years. You beat out every other school in the PSAC. That's something to be really proud of, isn't it? Extremely
proud of our student athletes, for that accomplishment. I think we had 6 of our teams were the highest, in their respective sports. So tremendous job by our student athletes in the classroom. And I'd throw in too, we had the 2nd highest in all of Division II number of kids that made the Division II athletic director's academic honor roll with 123. School that was ahead of us, I can't even remember where they are now, but we were number 2 in the entire country with those. But our athletes do a great job in the classroom, and that's our philosophy here is we want them to be good student athletes and want them walking across the stage with a degree in their hand when they're leaving, their time's done here.
You also hired a familiar face for your new assistant athletic director for compliance, also senior woman administrator, Renee Kania, who was an outstanding Seton Hill women's lacrosse player, just finished up her redshirt senior season, and she replaces Katari Key in that position. But Renee, just a tremendous girl, and I'm sure you're excited to have her still a part of Seton Hill Athletics.
Sure. She goes back some time with us. As you said, as a student athlete, she finished up her redshirt year playing for us last spring while earning her master's degree, and she did a lot of intern work in that office, and just came through the process, and she's been a tremendous asset for us right now. She's got lots of ideas. It's fresh face, fresh take on what the athletes are experiencing. I think it's someone that the athletes can relate to and not be dread coming to the compliance office or dread to come see me or anything like that. But she's been a welcome addition and doing a great job. So hopefully we have smooth sailing the whole away with her.
Yeah, for sure. She'll be working under Bruce Ivory. One of the last big news items I want to talk to you about, and I got to blur out this side of my shirt, or you got to get me a new polo, Chris, is the fact
I like to get you covered.
Yeah, your new partnership with Under Armour. How did that come together?
Well, we've been toying with trying to get more uniform, no pun intended there, for a few years, and trying to find a way to get it done, and
with all the teams.
with all of our teams. And so finally had a chance to sit down with representatives from Under Armour and their supplier BSN over the summer, or actually before the summer, and we put together a package that I think we're going to all be happy and finally have that goal of uniformity within about 3 years. Unlike, as I was telling some other staff members, we're not the major Division I powers where we can just wipe it all out in 1 year. So we've got to kind of let what we have run its course and then replace with the Under Armour. But it's a wonderful opportunity for us, and they've been generous in their support, both BSN and Under Armour, to the department. And I think it's only going to benefit our profile and benefit our student athletes.
Well, the road football jerseys look pretty sharp.
They do look pretty sharp.
Excited about seeing those on the Griffins this year for sure. And the other big news item, of course, the fields, the new turfing of the practice field, the softball field, and I know next summer then the baseball field.
Yeah, lots of work going on. Unfortunately, we got a little behind schedule. I was hoping to have at least what we call the practice field done in time for practice to start. But we're still about a week away, on that. But that's going to be a nice facility for football to practice. It also can be an alternative game site for women's lacrosse and field hockey. We moved a scoreboard over there. We have some bleachers set up over there. It's going to be a big plus to have an additional turf field down there. And softball field complete renovation is underway as we speak now. So our softball program will have a first-class facility, no question, by the time spring season starts. Maybe not so much the fall season, but spring season
when it really counts.
And then the next summer, as you alluded to, will be replacing the original turf that came in back in '05. So lots going on, and we just got to keep on keeping on, as they say. You can't sit still.
Well, a lot of big things going on at Seton Hill in terms of student athletes, and then of course just athletics as well. Chris, I just want to thank you for this partnership with Seton Hill University. I tell people all the time that what we do with our high school coverage and our Seton Hill coverage would not be possible without this guy, Chris Snyder, and the other coaches and sports information director Jason Green, and Seton Hill University. Without your support, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. Yeah. And I know that I can speak for everybody that works with us. We just couldn't be happier to partner with Seton Hill University, and thanks for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it, and you guys do a fantastic job and first-class operation on all your broadcasts, and I know our student athletes appreciate it, and I know our parents from far away appreciate it when they can watch their son or daughter at the various events that you cover.
And you probably like us even better when we pull you on for color every once in a while.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah, no problem.
Warm out, man, you're kicking back and calling some baseball wins.
I can do that. Football might be a little harder for me because I might get too a little emotionally charged there, and airwaves might not be real kind to me.
Keep that button ready. Chris, thanks a lot for your time, and hey, good luck this sports season.
All right, appreciate it, Dan.
That is Athletic Director Chris Snyder. Thank him for joining us here on our halftime show. Coming up, we'll recap the first half for you, and we'll rejoin you live from Bowie State right after this message.